Hey everyone, I already showed you guys how to make a stuffed pillow with the baby 6x7 EasyPress 2, but now I want to show you how to do just the pillow cover. So I found this awesome pillow at Michael's and the form comes out. So I'm going to unzip it and pull it out. I double checked and my material is a 100% polyester. So I already have that set up in my quick reference guide from my stuffed pillow since they're the same material. So I'm going to just go ahead and pull that up and show you guys quickly again before we start pressing. But I'm also going to use my 12 by 12 mat, the EasyPress mat. And what I'm finding is going to be the easiest, because I'm worried about the zipper possibly melting, is I'm going to put this inside my cover. I'm going to double check how this zipper is to make sure that I'm going to iron my design on the right way. And I'm going to stuff this in. I'm going to make sure this side is down, because that is our down side. I'm going to just stuff it right in here. I think that's going to be it's really great to be able to have this and I get to just stuff it right in, and it's going to make doing my design much easier. I also did my design about 12 by 12 inches, so it's going to be perfect for me to line everything up nice and evenly. So the first thing I always do, some of you may know, take a lint roller, go over my stuff. After I do a pre-press, I always go over it again, but I like to do it initially. Okay, we're going to pull up the EasyPress quick reference guide, and I have everyday iron on, polyester, so set to 315, preheat for 5 seconds, use a protective sheet, gentle pressure for 30 seconds, flip and press for 15 seconds, peel warm. Okay, so that's just a quick way to go over it with you guys. And I'm just going to, I already have my press set for 15 seconds, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to up it to 30. If you hold this down, it will move up by 5s. Hold it down, it goes up by 5s. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to start my press, and I'm going to just, every time it gets to a 5-second interval, I'll just move it and heat it up around my whole design. That way I don't have to keep resetting my my timer. Just get everything all set up. Okay, my press needs to come back up to temp, which is perfect because I can go ahead and take that time to lay my whole design out here. I'm doing a birth stat pillow, so I'm going to, I usually like to set my design on the, set it up on my computer to the side so that I can see it, but I'm pretty, I did a lot of attaching my designs in places so that it would line up pretty easily and I didn't have to worry too much about that. Now I'm going to, looks like some of this I should be able to press without having to worry about pulling different pieces apart, which is really nice. And I can tell that my design is a little bit bigger than my EasyPress pressing mat, so it looks like I will have to move it over a little bit, which is fine. I'm going to do this here. Okay, and I'm going to try and lay out as much of this as I can without my carrier sheets overlapping. If I press my vinyl on top of another carrier sheet, it's going to stick to that other carrier sheet and not my design. So I'm going to try and make sure nothing's touching and I can get as much of this down at once. That will be much easier for me to do. Okay, I think I'm going to have to do the top section of this first based on the way I cut my design. I'm going to, might make that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press this part first. Now I'm going to actually lay out the rest of my design, just some of it to make sure, yeah, it's going to fit up nicely, so we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and you can use your protective cloth, your parchment paper, your Teflon sheet, whatever you want to do, and you can go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm going to do, just press into it. You can feel the mat underneath press, which is really nice. You can feel it go in with your, so you know that you're doing just some gentle pressure. And we're going to make sure we get this whole design part up at the top, and then we can move around our mat inside the pillow. We can move it down a little bit so we can get the rest of the design done. Okay, so I have the indentation from my press in my Teflon sheet, so I know where I'm pressing when I move it, so I'm not overlapping too much of anything. And the EasyPress mat is really great for this because any seams that I have in my pillow cover, it's going to raise my design above that so that I'm getting a completely flat press, and this is going to press really nicely and evenly. And that's extremely, extremely important that you have nothing in the way of your seams. That will prevent you from getting a completely flat press, and if you have that trouble, there's really nothing you can do besides raise it above your surface, and that is something you want to make sure you do beforehand, because then you risk over pressing your vinyl, heating it too much, losing the adhesive. So you want to make sure that's something you're doing from the start. I'm always a big stickler for that and make sure I get it done right away. Now I do have a little bit of layering to do on the design that I did, so I'm really excited to show you guys to do that. It's really quick and easy, so we'll do that right at the end. I wanted to show you guys how to do kind of a multicolor. All right, so now that we've got all that, again, I'm going to peel this really carefully. I noticed at the end of this top piece here with her name on it, I noticed that the E at the end wasn't completely on the mat, so I want to make sure that when I'm doing this, I'm really careful to make sure. See, that E didn't go down perfectly, so I need to go back. Since it's enough for me to take my carrier sheet off, I'll do that and I'll go back and I'll press that at the end. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of shake this down so that my mat will go down and I can finish my design. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and I know that I have this set up to be right around here. I'm gonna press it over just a little bit. Make sure that's nice and good. Okay, and then I'm going to add my little pieces in here and make sure everything just lines up nicely. That's really key. Looks like I can slide this under here. Again, we want to make sure that no HTV is on top of a carrier sheet. You want to make sure that nothing is overlapping that way. Now this carrier sheet right here is over another carrier sheet, but the iron-on is not, and that's what the important part is, that the iron-on is not. Now I have this cute little elephant design that I want to go into the corner, so I'm going to press that last since that involves layering, but I'm just going to make sure that it's going to fit exactly how I wanted it to. Yep, it will fit. So then I'm going to go ahead and press this section, and then we can go ahead and layer that little elephant guy. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this down, start it, and add my temperature. And that's really, we just want to make sure, gentle pressure, it's really not that much. And you can see how my hand's hitting here. It's not hot, which is really great about this. You have a lot of control over this while still being extremely safe. And for me, that's really important because I have kids who touch absolutely everything. So if they were to come up right now and touch this, they're not going to burn themselves because they're going to touch at the top or even at the side a little bit. And if I go ahead and put that back down in my my base, that's where the heat is, my hot part's going to go. And I don't, I'm not worried about risking that. So it really is a huge safety thing that's something we're able to do. And I really, really love that because my kids really do touch everything ever. So I love that we're able to have something that's so safe and still so controllable. It's really nice. I love that. All right, so let me peel my carrier sheets. Excuse that. Hold on one moment. All right, so we're going to go ahead quickly, peel off all of our carrier sheets. Careful of this one. it was on the mat perfectly, so that's good. All right, I'm going to move my mat back over to this corner so I know we can get my little elephant design in, and I can straighten this out. Make sure this is down here in the corner where I want it. And I want to make sure everything's lining up really nicely and evenly. Push everything over so you guys can see this part. Okay, so we want this little elephant here, and I'm going to just press him for a second. We want to make sure it's just long enough to get the carrier sheet off. Okay, so we just want to press each layer for a second. All right, and again, always peel your carrier sheet really carefully. Okay, I'm going to line up my next layer, and I have just a little small piece for the feet, which will have to come last. So I'm going to set this down, press again just for a second. I don't even set my timer for it. I just press it down, pull it up, and again, peel your carrier sheet carefully. And I'm going to go ahead and figure out which way this goes really quickly. Now, even though this is my last layer, I am again only going to press that really quickly, because you want to make sure that the impression of the carrier sheet doesn't go into your other vinyl. It will leave an impression, and you want to make sure that that's not something that you're leaving, because it will leave that line there, and the longer that it's pressed in, the harder it's going to be to get it out, and you want to make sure that it doesn't ruin your overall design. So you just press for a second and make sure you peel it, and then you do your full press for your final piece, and that is really going to make a huge difference, because if you've watched my previous videos, you know that HUV shrinks when heated, and that is a big thing. Now, because we are able to flip this, we can flip it and do 15 seconds from the outside, but I am again worried about this zipper, so I'm not going to do that. But this is not something that's going through the wash, it's spot clean only. So let me put my pillow form back into here, zip it up, and I'll show you guys our final results. Okay, I went back and I repressed this little piece here that I told you earlier I was going to need pressed, and this is our final result with the form back in. So easy to do with the EasyPress. Love this.